Hey! Farming 2.0 is happening for Rust Console Edition in 2023, and that's right, it's a thing. And roughly, Farming 2.0 is going to occur at least on PTB, testing or staging branch, somewhere in February or April of 2023. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you guys are up to date with all that information, as we will tell you as soon as it does occur. So the Farming 2.0 update is going to bring in things like berries, mixing table, cloning, cloth to scrap, water system, teas with various buffs like ore, wood, or HP. If you'd like to see more information and you're watching this as a short, you can tap full video on the screen down below, where it does say full video, or in the pinned comment or in the description of said short. If you're here as a video, just keep watching. I'm Jade Monkey. This is Farming 2.0 for Rust Console Edition for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, next generations, and everything in between. Okay, let's go through what we do know and what's happening here. So, I'm sure most of you know Power Surge is cooking now on PTB. It should be happening roughly to main branch over like January, February. Things are immensely stable. Things are going well. I think we'll have a couple patches, but honestly, once people come back from the new year, I think things are going to move very quickly. After that, there's typically about a month or 2 weeks or so before it transitions into the next PTB cycle, which is going to be farming. And at first, you'll be like, hey, that doesn't seem like a really big deal. I'm telling you, it's huge. There's so many different things that come in with this, so many different implications. It's going to affect you with scrapping, progression, PvE, people that are base builders, even people that do PvP. All right, so let me go ahead and show you one of the first changes. So, okay, so you will still be able to plant things all over. So let me go ahead and zoom out here real quick. Like, you'll see plants growing naturally out here, but it's going to be extremely rare. The only way these plants are actually growing here, because these are the ones that spawn next to clean water. And yes, you can still plant outside, but the problem is things will die very quickly. And the conditions that you live in will also make it die that much more quicker. So the days of dropping a bunch of pumpkins on the ground and just filling up after you respawn are going to be over. You can still do it, but you're going to be that guy that's chewing up all the resources. Like the guy that takes a full stack of cloth outside of the base and goes, oops, and then now you're down, you can't make med pens, so on and so forth. Okay, so like things like when you respawn, you will take one piece of food out of the fridge and you'll sit on a chair and wait for your stuff to boost if you have a comfort level. That's going to be the biggest change, I think, for PvP. And as you can already see, we have things like berries chilling out here, right? Like, that's crazy. And to do any level of farming that's going to be consistent, either you're going to be picking stuff out of the freshwater areas here, which is going to be very limited. But for most people, you'll have to collect water, clean water, and plant things inside of the planter box and maintain. Like, they do require a certain amount of water and light, and also heat if you're in the cold biome. So, like, they're going to be very picky. Also, there's a small genetic game that comes along with this. Think of like planting Pokemon breeding, as it were. This whole genetic game loop is quite robust, and you can do things like boost the what is it, the hardiness? I think that's H. And so, like, there's a whole cloning game that's mixed in with it. So, like, when you pick one plant, you can get a higher yield. You can have a shorter growing time. Things like that. That's going to be a whole nother thing for sure. Even potatoes. Hey, it's my people's food. What? So, yeah, lots of cool things. Like, you can see the different stages here. Like, this one's fruiting. You can see, like, the yields and stuff. You can see how happy it is. Does it have enough light? Does it have enough water? So, a whole thing to just maintain that alone. And I'm sure as you've looked up here, you've already seen these sprinkler systems going. You're like, well, that's fancy. So since we do have electricity, this should look very familiar, but it is a different tool. This is called the, what is this called again officially? The hose tool. I was going to say wire tool. It is like the wire tool. But we have a whole water system where these things can be connected, split, and combined, and then dumped from things like the water, what was this? I was going to say water container. This is the water barrel, which we do currently have, but it'll be extremely useful. And then it comes down here to something like a pump that you can turn on and off electronically. We got better turn back on. We don't want our crops to get smoked. And then we have things down here like a pump. This will pump both salt and fresh water. And if you did have salt water, just so you know, you could put it through the water purifier itself, which also takes power. So you can really start to see why farming needed to have electricity beforehand before anything could occur here, because this pump, yes, it does work as an on-off as flow, but if you want to push any water above it, you do need to have power into the pump itself to actually push water up. So this one is actually pushing it up the leg here, and then over to these water barrels, and then the other half is going off to the sprinklers themselves to make sure that all the plants are good to go. And as a side note, you can also turn off furnaces by having a sprinkler on top. And please note that if you're in the winter biome, I'm sure we'll be covering this, and you guys will be seeing this live on stream. If you're in the winter biome and the water's on top of you, you're getting wet, and it's definitely going to hurt you badly, as you already know. All right, so let me just show you here the water pumps. We've got a power. They have internal reservoirs here, but then you can pump it up into or a combined area here. And then, like I said before, it goes up into the water barrels. In this case, you can already start to see, or maybe somebody's put this together already watching this saying, well, it looks like clean water is going to be valuable. You couldn't be more correct. You're going to see lots of people making big plays for clean water. Don't let that deter you if you're a solo, because you can still clean the water very easily. Things like at the bandit camp. The bandit camp I know is like fresh water technically. I'm using air quotes. But really it's salt water, so you could go use water jugs, fill up those water jugs manually in the pond, then walk it back home and have like a feed system for this water purifier. You can have a bunch of these barrels full of salt water, have it come down here, clean it, and then dump it out to another set of water barrels and then have clean water on the other side. Just note that 1 milliliter of salt water will ruin an entire crop. That's right. So throwing salt water on people's crops is definitely a thing. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you're welcome. So yeah, clean water is definitely going to be something you fight for. It's going to be a very valuable resource. You won't think about it because we're so used to just having plants all the time and just throwing down hemp seeds or watermelons, pumpkins whenever we want to, but that's going to definitely go away. And keeping seeds is going to be a big thing too, because that's how you roll RNG for these various berries and whatnot. Okay, so let's go over here. These are some of the new seeds that we have. We got the potato seed, the red berries. We have green, white berry seeds, yellow berry seeds, and blue. And then we have the standard stuff here. We have corn, hemp, and then pumpkins. You can see what the new icons look like here. These should be fairly familiar. Now, things like plant fiber and horse poo can be thrown in the composter to make fertilizer. And fertilizer you can also sell for scrappy poo as well. Don't know if the composter is going to come in on the farming or if it's going to come in with the horses. Either way, it's going to be a thing for us, and us exchanging things at the bandit camp for what is it, cloth to scrap, and then also fertilizer to scrap will be a thing. So having these giant farms is definitely going to be a big deal. Selling things out there as far as like cloth or even like the super seed, like a, what do they call them? Like a super clone seed. Because as you start to make more of these plants, you can make like a super clone that's like has a high yield and has like a quick grow time. So they're going to be very valuable to larger groups, things like your cloth, right? Okay, so let's kind of go over here. Again, we're going to have a video on this way later when things get a bit closer for sure, but like teas will give you crazy buffs that I don't think people really use enough. I think we're starting to see it slowly now in like the main meta over on PC, but for this has been in the game for like a hot second, like over 2 years. So the fact that more people aren't using this is kind of crazy, but so like, yeah, you can increase your maximum health. You can have this is a pure tea, then there's an advanced tea after that makes it even better. So if you like combat, like having a berry farm is going to be like the best thing ever, because that's how you're going to make your teas. Like if you want more health than that other scrub, pound some advanced health teas, man. And this one is pretty crazy. This is going to blow your mind. Yeah, basic ore tea. You get more ore when you're farming when this bad boy's up. Is that insane? Basic scrap tea also, is it blowing your mind? It should. It increases the amount of scrap you get from barrels. So if you're doing like water collection, like what is it, water farming, where you're hitting the barrels on the flotillas, but dude, money. You've got healing teas. I think we still, yeah, basic healing teas. So you have something in addition to med pens, and this is more instant. So these teas are like stupid powerful. Oh yeah, and this one's insane. The basic wood tea. So if you need more wood, and we always do because it's Rust, wood is one of those commodities that you're always just burning through. Like you have a wood tea, and if you do that with a chainsaw, it's off the charts crazy. So yes, farming is going to be one of the biggest things that really hits us as far as like economy, balance, and really I think it's going to help a lot of solos, and I think it's going to add a lot more fun gameplay into Rust itself. Can't wait for it. Yeah, things are moving quickly, so I'm hoping when farming does come in, it's only as stable and as quick as like, well, quick once it came in as Power Surge. So we already know we waited for Power Surge for like almost 2 years. But you know what I'm talking about. Like things came in very, very stable. And I have a lot of confidence that this is going to come in the same fashion because the same system is used behind the scenes with the water as the electricity is as well. So yeah, a lot of really exciting stuff happening. So in the meantime, just to get you all excited, telling you about the farms. But if you need to know how to power your turrets, because I know we're currently sitting in Power Surge right now on Rust Console Edition, I'm going to throw up the Power Turret Setup guide now on the end screen. Go ahead and check it out. Don't forget to subscribe and drop a like, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.